Hello, hello. Gonna do a mic check. Hi, Mike. How are you doing? I checked on my mic. Seems okay. Might have to get some feedback from the outside world. Also, going to put on a little music before we get started. My goal for tonight's live is seriously just to relax and go over some interesting thoughts and contemplations that I've had and collected over the past couple of weeks. It's not going to be an organized presentation. I'm still figuring out what my format is, but the info is piling up, so I need to just share it and keep it moving. Okay, let's see how this music sounds. Hopefully it's not super loud. If anyone's listening, can you let me know if you can hear the music both without me speaking and when I'm muted? I know that's a lot to ask. Maybe pushing buttons is here and doesn't mind helping me out with that. Very cool. 2 5x5 sounds like a success story. Nice. Thank you, Push. Thank you, pushing buttons. Great to see you tonight, Wednesday evening, July 30th, 8:30 p.m. Pacific time, where I am. I didn't know about the angelic aspects of this song. Just listening to it, it's one of those free uploads through YouTube Music Studio. Nice. So the other day I was thinking about this image. Take myself out of here. It's just a circle. Take the music away. I'll get it going well. I'll be the proper DJ everyone's hoping I will become eventually. So anyway, this circle I was thinking about before bed one night, and I was thinking about, what is the Matrix? What is the construct? How many of them are there? How many layers of matrices are we existing within? Are some people trapped in more layers of the webbing of matrices than others? Is it just because we're alive that we're all experiencing the only one similar matrix? So I started to think about that. I started to think about this pie chart of 12 sections. That number 12 comes up quite a lot in our experience of reality. I'm not saying that the 12 segmented matrix is the only numerical layered construct that we're within, but a lot of them do fit quite well with that. Okay, here we go. I'm juggling now. Let's see if I can do it without hurting myself. I just flipped my iPad over my back to the laptop so that I can pull up some of these interesting ways of application of a matrix system. Like, how many matrices are we in? What is the matrix? Is there the main matrix, and then there's these sub matrices? Just thinking about the 12 here initially, that image is a little strong, by the way, so I'm going to take it off the screen. Just going to put these flowers here right now, but you can remember 12. Although the important element of that circle, oh, I hope that didn't make too much of a noise, that rub on the mic. The most important element of that circle, I think, for what I'm talking about tonight, is the center. It's the central point. So there's 12, but then the center, you can look at it as either 13 or the 0 point. Some people talk about the 13. The 12 is being a closed loop, and then the 13 is the thing that frees the individual from the loop and maybe go just to another layer of another matrix to learn about. Is that what it is? Is it just the fact that we observe and then we can move forward? Is there like a riddle to solve within each and every matrix? So I don't know if anyone's listening and you have an idea about 12. What are some of the 12 tiered, layered constructs that we are sort of not victim to, but succumb to, especially if we're asleep and we don't realize that we're operating based on a construct or through the lens of that construct? First of all, thinking about coming through the different frequencies of the zodiac to enter into form from spirit into a human body. I know a lot of people use the natal chart as that 12 pie chart system, and you can take a look at it and contemplate, like, okay, how much is sprinkled around equally, those 12 pieces? Like, first, perhaps we can find a way to balance each of these sections in our lives, and then we can pull away from them completely and sit in the center and not be bound or defined by any of those, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces all have different qualities that perhaps we embody more or less of. So to pull yourself away from that 12-tiered construct matrix is to identify all the qualities of each sign that shows up in your personality, and to ask yourself and to contemplate, who are you without any of those qualities of any of those signs? Who are you at your essence, at your core? And then you go in the center, and then you forget about the 12. I was interested in, there's time, 12 hours of the clock. That could be called something like the temporal matrix. We all have in our mind, like, what happens at a certain time of the day. You could say 8 p.m. What do you usually do at 8 p.m.? So you're directed, a lot of us are directed by what time it is. And that's not who we really are at our central essential point. But we utilize that for system here. It's another 12-tiered construct, 12 in mathematics. um, 12 inches, 12 months, 12 signs of the zodiac, 12-tone music scale, 12 divisions of the clock, 12 eggs in a dozen, 12, 12, 12, 12 stages of the hero's journey. How many of us are defined by which aspect of the hero's journey we might be traversing at this moment? It's an interesting one to think about. The 12 steps of the hero's journey, and then pulling yourself into the center to kind of have like a times out of any part of the journey and not to be defined or directed by that. Hero's journey is written a lot through different movie scripts. The one I'm thinking of on my mind right now is The Lord of the Rings. Then not going to go through each part of that particular movie, but the 12 sections of the hero's journey starts with you're just in ordinary world. This is also can be equated to the tarot, the fool in the beginning, jumping off the cliff into the great unknown with the innocence and that childlike wonder. In the ordinary world, second, call to adventure. You take the call or you don't take the call, which is actually the third step, is the refusal of the call. Fourth step is meeting the mentor. And then there is crossing the threshold. Then 6 is tests, allies, and enemies. We can also go through these several times, cycle through these constructs. You know, we definitely do with the time one every day and all the ticking, cycling through another part of the 12. But we can have times in our lives here where we're revisiting any of these. We could have several heroes' journey in one life journey. The 7th is after discerning who the allies and enemies are, retreating, going within. 8, there's a great ordeal, some great ordeal. 9, the reward. 10, the road back. 11, the resurrection. 12, return with the elixir. That's also kind of highlighting the Plato's cave allegory. The individual that is just going along like everyone else, looking at the shadow puppets on the cave from the fire behind, not knowing that the source of the images isn't what's in front of them, but something behind them. And then the person that starts to figure it out, then they leave the cave, and then they make the discoveries, and then they come back, and they choose to come back into the cave to return with the truth and the wisdom. And there's also the ox stories in Buddhism, something about an ox and taking it to the market and coming back. I can't remember that one very well. What else? Let me say hi, take a break from reading these different 12. And what I'm doing, if anyone is not sure, I was thinking about this image the other night, this 12 construct pie chart, and how there could be several matrix in our life. Society, family, different types of constructs, different types of guidelines. A lot of the time they happen in these 12. And to remove yourself as a meditation or a contemplation to visualize, like within each matrix construct, you know, some parts of that, you know, some parts of your family have a stronger pull on you. Some parts of archetypes, there are 12 archetypes of our psyche, some have stronger pull to be expressed. So, like, to think about this, circle and all the different segments of the constructs, and to see and size up which, like, where is there more energy pulling at me? Where am I putting most of my energies, and why? And what happens if I am in the center without any of those particular aspects? Who am I before any of that was laid out? And words might not come as an answer. It could be a feeling, it could be a knowing, it could be a space. If you keep yourself there for a period of time, um, can be a meditation to unlock more of a experience of reality than you were. And I'm saying all this stuff because I want to be a helpful person. I want to be supportive. I understand that maybe a lot of us don't really want to be here. It's really challenging being here. I I know it very well how challenging and painful it can be to be here. But, what are we going to do while we're here? Hobbies. We've got hobbies and passions. And my nature is not to sulk and be angry all day and all night. My nature is to find the bright, not the bright side, not spiritual bypassing, but what can we do with this? How can I be in the world, not of it, not with its pressures on me and all these different matrix layers? How can I learn more about myself with the tools that I am given here while I am alive in a human form, even though it's very uncomfortable? I guess I'm a productive type, efficient type. Holy moly, 27 comments in the chat. I haven't even been over here to see what is being written. I feel like I'm going to have to pull it up on my iPad so it's more in front of my eyes, but I'm glad there's so much interactivity there. Hello to anyone. I can't see the names yet. Why don't I just do that? I'll take a moment and look in the chat. Put some background music on. What do we got here? Into space. All right, that's funny. Why am I still hearing the music? Oops. Okay. All right, that's funny. Oops. Why am I still hearing the music? Oops. Oh, we're all familiar with the technical difficulties, especially during Mercury Gatorade. If you believe that any of these planetary frequencies or alignments or aspects have any influence on you whatsoever. I know Olga Volny is a strong proponent right now with her presentation talking about how astrology is, an aspect of reality that is has a stronghold over people. And I think you can look at it that way, and you can also look at it as Oh, I see you, astrology. I see that I fell from spirit into form through the layers of density, and depending on the time and the place and the year and how many orbits I bounced around in the atmosphere before I landed on the ground into my mother's womb. Then I have this natal chart and it says, oh, this is, you went through this star and then you bounced off this planet and now you have this many, blah, blah, blah. And then you went through this layer of density. And now this is you. This is your signature. Welcome to Earth. This is your signature. And then I say, like, wait a minute. I don't think that I'm going to use this. I mean, yeah, okay. Maybe it can be a guideline and a map and show me some things about this particular vessel somehow. But is it really me? Who am I without astrology? Um, I did not read any of the chat, but let's see. I'm going to go all the way back to 1974. Oh, we got Vegan Skeptic, Neoborn. Welcome. So great to see you. Hi, y'all. Sounds like we're talking about some interesting stuff, so I'm watching from behind. Be right back. That's so great. Black Uni Griffin's in the house. Hey, Black Uni Griffin. Great to see you. The Core Matrix think tank. It's definitely a construct. Why not 13? Well, that's a great question. It doesn't have to be 12. It can be one. It could be the Trinity as a construct. It could be duality. It could be two. I was just experimenting with a 12 just to see. Jared Jaguar's in the house. Hi, Jared Jaguar. There are a lot of connections with 12. I never thought of it, says Core Matrix Think Tank. Yeah, the Lord of the Rings is modeled after Viking stuff, Black Uni Griffin says. Vegan Skeptic Neo Reborn says, maybe it's not about breaking the matrix, but realizing which version of you gets tricked and plugs back in through emotion, memory loops, etc. Totally. I think that's another part of the contemplation that I was kind of thinking about in my mind, is to look at all these 12 or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, look at the constructs, the different ways that become matrix, our family system, our psyche, the archetypes within our mind, the journeys that we go through, our alchemical process, the timing, the years, the days, all the different things, society, physiology, food, eating, all. You can look at all these different constructs, lay them out on the table, and say which parts of these constructs have the greatest pull toward me. Do I have any addictions to any of these things? Do I often forego my needs or myself as a priority for any of this? Is there some sort of a strange, like you said, emotional draw? And those emotions and those addictions, basically, it feels like this. If you can go away from your normal environment, from your habits, from your normal routine, and you can go and sit by yourself without distractions, without entertainment, without companionship, by yourself, without an agenda, how long can you just, like, I was thinking, okay, well, the body is obviously addicted to eating and staying hydrated, because if I try to not do that for very long, it has this survival mechanism that is going to push me with all its might to go get a glass of water or something to snack on. Okay, so I don't know how strong those drivers are for pulling an individual back into this realm, but can we go through periods of time where we purposefully test to see how long we can go without something or think about something. Um, I think about that saying, "Wherever you go, there you are." How long can you just be without these draws and pulls and emotions and addictions and curiosities? Another matrix construct is getting trapped in the loop of curiosity and the addiction to gnosis. How much information is going to come from deep within? How much more of a divine connection can I have? It's hilarious. So, vegan skeptic says, I am planning to be an astral ninja before I leave, and hopefully leave when my time comes with a super conscious OBE. Totally. I feel the same. I really like that. Pushing Button says that's awesome. I practice when I'm going to sleep to try and remain lucid across that transition of awake into dream to just get myself familiar with having conscious OBEs. Vegan Skeptic says plenty of matrices and their layers for sure, I think. 12-layer contracts sound like zodiac, months, tribes, DNA strands. That's a big one, each anchoring us here. The 13th is hopefully the break in the pattern. And then I am outie. Yes. Yeah, great. I'm great that we got some great participation on that. Hey, Lawrence is in the house. Nice to see you. So, yeah, I'll go back to my thoughts on that. Thanks everybody for your comments. Keep chatting it up. It's a great bunch of people and non-people, and I'll make more mods. I usually do. I just like, oh, here's somebody that I enjoy. Now you're a mod. So I just can't do very much right now because I'm laying in a specific manner where I'm just resting my back. So it really limits my capacity to do much than just read. I can't really like sit up and type and do a lot of stuff. But anyways, so we went through the 12-layer construct of time, mathematics, the different times on the clock. We're usually drawn like, oh, what are you doing at 7 a.m.? What does that say about you? Everybody's got a different 7 a.m. Some people are waking up, some people are going back to sleep. The different archetypes. Did we go through the different archetypes? Societal overlays. There's so many roles that we are kind of expected sometimes, unless you really take some time to think about it and make a stance. We're expected to contribute and be productive. That's the workforce role. We are mostly expected to have a career status. The life path is judged by professional advancement or stability. Number 3, holidays and seasons, scheduled emotional spikes and collective rituals. That's a big foundational director of society. Now everybody do this. Now everybody do this. If you don't do this, that means this. What are you, a different religion? Oh, that's a whole nother 12. I wonder if there's we know about the 12 tribes of Israel. I wonder if there's 12 major religions. Doesn't have to be 12. It's just 12 is really fitting. Also, they say in terms of astrology, the 12 zodiac signs, and then they say Ophiuchus being the 13th sign, which is the figure holding the snake. And so it could be not really wrestling the snake, but opening the snake up from that Ouroboros eating its own tail. Could be a way to think about it. 4 out of the 12 from the societal overlay construct would be trends and fads. Lots of times we're like, oh no, these types of pants are in style now. Oh, this is a new language. This is a new thing. This is a new behavior. And it's driven by marketing and media and social media. Social media personas, romantic idealism, family scripts, conflict norms, time blocks, health expectations. What does a healthy body or mind look like? Success metrics, civic identity. So, all the different ways of looking at the 12 or any numerical sectioned matrix, each of these is a loop and a lens, like a prism, and we can see different things through each facet of the prism. And when we recognize the qualities of each of those prisms and name them, and then be just the observer from the central 0 point, you can reclaim your choice to disengage and to not become ingrained within whatever loop. So the 0 point is the place, or the 13th point is the place where you're not being pulled by any of these default rhythms. You observe them spinning, but you're no longer spun by them. The daily life loop. Walking, orientation. No, waking, orientation. The first thing you do in the day, you wake up, you regain your awareness. Here I am again. What am I? Who am I? Sometimes I wish I wake up with amnesia. Sometimes I'm glad I don't wake up with amnesia. What am I supposed to do today? What day is it? Okay. Hygiene, grooming, that's the next thing. Oh, I gotta brush my teeth. Now I gotta wash my face. I take a shower. And then now I'm gonna eat. Gotta feed this body. What am I gonna eat? Am I eating to live or am I living to eat? Now I'm gonna turn on my email and my internets and see if there's anybody that wants me to correspond with them. Oh, now I gotta make some plans, make my to-do list. I'm gonna get to work now. I'm going to have more inspirations, daydreaming time. Oh, something crazy happened. Now I need some emotional processing time. Cleaning our environment. Maintaining our interpersonal dynamics and relations. The time where we escape through entertainment or more distraction. And then rest, retreat, and then repeat. All these are real aspects of being in a body, obviously, but they can also become mechanisms of avoidance, identity fixation, or background programming. From the 13th point, you can notice the loop without becoming it. You are the awareness beneath the role, not just the one who does the things. Pause, withdraw, let the wheel turn, but stay in stillness. All right, I'm going to go to the chat. I almost said Chizat because I was hanging out at Propagate's channel last week saying hi over there, meeting him and Mud Rabbit and the people in the chat, and I had a really nice time. And I want to say thank you to Pushin' Buttons for introducing me to that channel. I do plan to go back and hang out again. So I want to pull up, because you mentioned Pushin' Buttons over there recently, asked me my opinions on William Donohue's work, and I couldn't remember at that moment, but then afterward, I pulled up the videos and I said, of course, oh my goodness, I really appreciate this person's contributions. And then wouldn't you know, the video that I pulled up today, it's very difficult. It is called Meditation by Bill Donohue, And in the center of the thumbnail is a circle with a dot in the middle. And this is usually what happens. I'll have a thread going, the golden thread, and the matrix, the simulacra, the interface that's operating seemingly in the background, but it's like everything. That's the mainframe matrix, I guess, that interacts and we interact with here, and it's very confusing. Because for a long time through our lives, we're taught that supernatural, the invisible world is supernatural, and it's just woo-woo and magic, and there's nothing there. And then, like, the more I start to realize that that's very far from the truth, and then start to realize, wow, this whole thing is a trip. And I got myself into this form somehow, and I'm still thankfully aware of my spirit, my essence, the part of me that is not this place, or that is not any of the aspects of the constructs that have been laid upon me layer by layer as I got older in this life. Somehow I got myself in here, and now I've got all this like stickiness. And every day I wake up and like, well, this spider web stuck on me, and I am connected to the whole system somehow. And a lot of people get tripped up on that when people say that they feel like, so when I say I feel connected to the whole system, I think it's eerie. I'm not super excited about that. I don't know how that works to have individual consciousness within a larger field of consciousness. But I know that there is a part of me that is not this system. And what system am I talking about? I don't know. The mainframe, the experience of reality system. So getting back to this Bill Donahue. Oh yeah, I was saying I have these threads of thought that I follow, and it's strange that the matrix, the overall mainframe matrix, is connected to my mind through, I think, probably the subconscious, and it knows what I'm thinking, and it will present to me information that allows me to continue along following that golden thread. And I often think about how much of that is a trap, and how drawn I am to discover more. And then so I experiment with letting that go and being fine with not knowing anything more, not thinking about anything ever again, and give myself an opportunity to feel what that feels like. So this meditation, it's not really a meditation, it's a video that just came up. Bill Donahue said the first sentence he says is so interesting. I'm going to mute.
It's very difficult for me when I'm home. You know, the computer's there. I should do something on the computer, the television. Maybe I'll see how the ball game's going. It's very difficult. When you hear, you commit yourself to a half hour and you're still. That's why it's important that, it's very difficult for me when I'm home. The computer's there. I should do something on the computer, the television. Maybe I'll see how the ball game's going. Very difficult. When you hear, you commit yourself to a half hour and you're still. That's why it's important that, when you can, if you can come, you come, and try to subject yourself to that, because it's difficult otherwise. Okay. So real meditation is learning to be still. As the Bible says, be still and know that I am God. Be still and understand the I am is God. That is within you. The creative power within you is either good or evil. The creative power within you is either God or the devil. Power itself is totally neutral. Electrical power, here's the lights. It's totally neutral. It will not hurt you. It will not do you any good. It's just neutral. It depends on how you use it. You get a good electrician, and this is what happens. We have air conditioning, we have music, we can have movies in here, a television, we have nice lights, and all of this is beautiful because whoever used this power knew what they were doing.
Yeah, so when he said that, and I saw that earlier today, and the thumbnail of this video is just a circle, like the circle that I have with 12 with a spot in the center. So I just thought that was a great synchronicity for myself. And it kind of nudged me to share tonight. And there's more videos and people that I've been inspired by the past couple weeks that I'll share tidbits of as well. But the one thing that he said there is that the power isn't good or evil. Earlier today, I was watching a video this woman made talking about the demiurge and how that there's this, the Gnostics believe that if God is all good, then anything that's evil that's happening in our reality means that this world is not this world has been taken over by a different God that is not good. But that can be a strange logic the more you think about it, and I do think about it. God, for me, I'm thinking of it more as this generative, organizational, and then dissolution, or is the process. It's the charge. It's the power. Like Bill was just saying, it's the I am. It's the happening. It's the charge. It's the EL, the electricity, the electromagnetism. It's the pulse. It's the red shift, blue shift. It's just the basic charge, and you can apply anything to that, and you can become a skilled electrician, or you can just use the power without any wisdom and cause more problems and chaos. So, like with all the occulted information and all of the things that a lot of people think in regards to esoterica, it has an evil or negative stigma to it because individuals in the past in our humanity had realized that some things hold power and can increase power if you start to learn about the technology or the interface of this realm itself, and that it's organized in a certain manner. And if you align yourself with that organization in any way that you discover, it will enhance whatever you're doing because you're pairing up like a sympathetic resonance with the system, and you're going with the momentum of it instead of not knowing about it and just being blind and like swept up in it and just being controlled, or knowing about it and wanting to control and manipulate. And that's the virus of the parasite comes through the psyche, those thought forms that are birthed through the lower octaves of human compulsion, greed, lust, envy, shame, malice, all of those ways. If you want to heighten those things, and then you use the system to align with, to heighten those things, which is what a lot of society has been victim to, is the mass commandeering of the main frame of energy to be used for population control and mitigation. And then the inversion is presented to people as an inversion. Oh no, we're not using it. It's evil. And we're going to make sure that in your morphic field of human resonance data to collect from, you don't even need to know. You're just born and you think it's evil. It's just in the data banks. And you don't have to use it, the charge, but it's like we're all creating. We're the spirit that's animating this form. And so you can do whatever you want with that animation. And we're all sharing this realm. Who knows if it's how many billion people all creating, either consciously or unconsciously, together. And then we also have the forces of frequency and sound and the overlays of, the cycles of this mechanisms of this realm, like the luminaries and things. They have a hold on individuals too. So you find all these different ways that things are holding us, and take a step back and sit in the point of the observer. I want to read some chats because it's been a while. And thank you everyone for being here. I hope you're doing well. Gonna pass some snacks around pretty soon. So let's see. I want to put them up on the screen because some of them are really great. So I'm going to see if I can adjust my laptop so I can see. All right. So yeah, we can continue more with the Bill Donahue meditation. It's not really meditation. He's going over what meditation is, which I think is really important. And I noticed that I say I meditate a lot more than I actually may be meditating because I've been learning how to put myself in a meditative state throughout the day and night, no matter what it is that I'm doing. But really the point is to be still and to, try and sit in that space of the observer and to go through the discomfort of sitting. Those are all kind of little tests, I think, for the meditation. So let's see. Pushing Button says, I feel like I see more synchronicities when I am more in contact with certain people. I feel that too. Black Uni Griffin says, it happens to me also. The synchronicities are wild. Yeah. Holy moly. What about this? Pushing buttons. Heather, you are the most conscious person I've ever come across. Well, I am merely a reflection of you. When people say that, that's funny. But yeah, you're incredibly conscious, pushing buttons. Thank you for that compliment. Vegan skeptic Neo Reborn. Oh, cool. I heard Heather from Propagate This Light and love the stuff she was talking about there. So I subbed and this stream just proved further than me. Yay! That means Vegan Skeptic is about to become a moderator, and so is Core Matrix Think Tank. Because let me come down here to the bottom. Let's see. Here we got some great stuff. Vegan Skeptic, great to have you here tonight. You're really contributing. Everyone's contributing so well. I think the system is actually brilliant at syncing signs to keep us looping. Timing, symbols, the angel numbers, all used like bait to trigger belief or action. Yeah, there was a time when I was really disillusioned that a synchronicity meant green light. Go follow these breadcrumbs. I had a relationship, the last one that I was in, romantic partnership that I was in 4 years ago, for a couple of years, was full of wild synchronicities that one would say, oh, this means you guys are meant to be. And it was the opposite. It was like these alarm bells going off from a part of my soul that was, I think, trying to wake me up with how obvious things were. Like, something's going on. You can't normally be experiencing these many synchronicities. What? Pay attention. What's happening? How do you feel? Become present. I was definitely hypnotized. It was my first experience of being in a romantic partnership with a covert narcissist. The only one I had known about before was, I would think, my mother growing up, but I never had a romantic partnership with a legit narcissist until then. And so I learned quite a bit, but I was hypnotized through most of it. Core Matrix Think Tank said, yes, this is a good one. Talking about the Bill Donahue talk. The Vegan Skeptic says, so definitely not all synchronicities are divine, and probably most aren't. Some feel very scripted, like the Matrix knows your archetype and drops the exact illusion at the perfect time to pull you in. Yeah, I mean, the skill and the precision, the intimacy that the Matrix. Okay, what is that called? What is the mainframe Matrix? The simulacra? Reality? Is so the spirit descends into density. If I imagine myself once and still connected to a greater intelligence of self that is holding its own specific signature and memory, but is not tethered into this realm, I'm still connected to that. But, when I was not tethered into this realm, however, I was drawn into, whether through curiosity, the pull of electromagnetism, something about a frequency of perhaps a thought, because that was something I was thinking about in the videos that I made, called Sentience into Form, how the greater mind, they say all is mind, the universe is mental, is the first Hermetic principle, is the greater mind is making up, say that's the cosmos. Every archetype is a separate entity of the cosmology of the greater mind. And then within those archetypes, so there's one aeon, the aeon of Sophia or wisdom, which is applied knowledge. So all the information is collected in the I am, in the great one mind. And then there's a charge, there's an intention, there's a pulse that one of these aeons or aspects of consciousness decides to create from. And it's not a woman, it's not a man, it's an anthropomorphized aspect of a frequency that gained charge and momentum and became its own closed loop system inadvertently because of the laws of the electromagnetism. And the magnetism is the void, is the soup of infinite potentiality, is that dark matter that, like, it's so dark, it's like crystalline. And that's the feminine receptive principle. And then the masculine action principle is that of the electricity, the impulse, the vibration, that turns the ether into light and then creates systems. And so there's spirit everywhere, outside and inside the system, but the spirit that comes into the system, whether for whatever reason, pulled down through the densities into this central place of creation where everything's unfolding based on either the DNA or of the vessel or the seed, the information in the seed, and the spirit comes in and it reads. It's like, okay, what do we got on the menu? This is what I'm going to serve you today. I'm just playing out this role or whatever. And I hate when people say that. And so I just cringed myself when I heard myself say that. Wow. And then it's like we have no privacy. Is like is there a space in my mind that I can not be a part of the larger mind? Do I have to be like open source and available only while I'm here? Because I don't have full control over what I even perceive in its entirety. I'm like I'm limited to only be able to see and experience things in a certain manner. And a lot of it is incredibly inverted and it's very confusing, but we're figuring it out, and how to sit in that central point of self without all of these icky like spider webs of matrices that are presenting themselves to us. And how the hell do I think about something one day and then the next thing I hear the thought that was so abstract that I didn't think anybody would ever even say, or I've never even heard anybody say anything, and then I see somebody write it out in the chat in a video the very next day. Like, it's bizarre. Or I hear a lyric in the song at the exact time that I'm thinking something in that lyric, and then at the same time, like, I'm saying tree in my mind while the song is saying tree out loud. Just it's so wild. Okay. Okay, we got some chats happening. Let me read through them. I used to think synchronicities meant I was on the right path for a brief part of my new age spiritual path from before. Now I wonder if it's just the matrix way of saying we still got you. I know it's interesting. I marvel at the synchronicities because it's seems like magic. But now I think I'm trying to almost utilize it for myself and be quicker at noticing and being present and connecting, making the connections. So I think the more aware and lucid we are about noticing the connections, looking at our hands, looking at the clock, am I dreaming? You know, the more we can clock in each state of awareness, the more mastery I think is happening. Let's see. The evil god hijacked the system idea. Sounds like another potential trap to me as well. Yeah, I agree. It still implies the place was good or can be redeemed, all of which could be the lie. Sure, what if the golden age was just bait, a honeymoon phase to lure in souls before locking the trap, not a fall from grace thought, just a staged decoy? While the hijacking story keeps us hoping for a fix. But exactly, that's a part of the coding. I notice the patterning is everybody's seems to be waiting, waiting for it to get better, waiting for it to get worse, waiting for a savior. But maybe the system was always meant to degrade and designed obsolescence even for timelines. yeah, I know there's like the concept of even in a closed loop system is being drawn towards entropy in physics. I was thinking last year about syntropy and how perhaps a system doesn't necessarily have to decay to disorder and chaos, but can consistently refine its efficiency and symbiotic um, dynamics within it. So instead of it entropy, it's syntropy. I was thinking about that for a while. Uh, Core Matrix Think Tank. I know every time I talked about making a self-sustainable anything, they called it a cult. Well, yeah, then this whole place is a cult. Well, that's for sure. I like when Sly would talk about that, um, about all the different cults. So we have to realize that we're in the Matrix is, training people to be submissive or souls to be submissive to go along with the cults. So when I say that, it makes me think about the cognitive dissonance, um, how much of us are going along with this experience, but deep down we really don't want to be, and how much of a challenge it is to live with that inherent, not inherent, but that cognitive dissonance, because it's hard to find, it's hard to reconcile for me, at least, that I know that there's so much creative potential all here together existing at the same time between each individual. And there's so much also like inner work that we all have to do to realize the way things are happening sideways, the way things happen inadvertently and we don't realize. It's a big process, and so sometimes I don't have hope that things. But then I get to this base level too, and I say, well, okay, Heather, come on. Do you really want to have to eat and drink and take something to sustain yourself at all? So why do I even want to think about entertaining making the world a better place? When even if it's the best place, everybody still has to take from something else to get something, unless we can find a system, a way. Maybe, because I talk about the torus field a lot, maybe the energy, maybe something about the frequencies that's on the outer edges that come back up around into the realm again, those could be like the cycles, the grander cycles on the outskirts of that system of electromagnetism, frequency, all the stuff. It comes back around the ages, and whenever it's coming back around into the central to be manifested, it's bringing in that like fresh higher octave frequency or something, and then maybe there will be a period where we don't have to eat and drink. And I'm just pausing to think about what is that. Yeah. Wow. What a trip. Um Comments. Oh, core matrix think tank. I think I'm a natural manipulator, which I don't want to be. I get it. I think that we all are trained to learn unconsciously neuro-linguistic programming, and when we're children, we need to have our needs met, and we figure out what it's going to take to get what you want accomplished. I I I just think it's something to be aware of and be mindful of. But we all are like that. Core Matrix think tank. I think a lot of us have been manipulated and end up falling into similar patterns of manipulation, for sure. The Matrix tries to simulate, emulate, recreate this thing that we are, which is some awareness, some unexplainable creative force, the true mind. Yeah. I appreciate Black Uni Griffin also, since that recognition is rare for me, even though of course, I think that I do great as a 20-year long researcher, but it means more than you know. Black Uni said to Vegan Skeptic, you deserve some accolades. That is, yeah. Um, I look forward to hearing you speak and more on your thoughts, Vegan Skeptic. Do you have a channel? It would be cool if we could sub to you or anybody else who has a channel here. So I'm going to play a little bit more of Bill Donahue's talk here. It's a little bit loud. I don't know if it's too loud, but you can let me know once you hear. And then I'm going to find another video. I'm going to pull up the other video that I was watching earlier. This girl that she was talking about what is the demiurge and all the different ways of thinking of it. And I thought a really cool point she made was in terms of Gnosticism, their belief of God is all good. Then anything bad that happens means that this place is taken over by an evil God. But the logic is flawed from the jump, because if God is everything, is a generative force or process behind everything, it is not good or evil. It is just what is being done with. So it's kind of up to us, and then it's all of us as a collection, and then it's, but how the hell was this place designed? Because I like reverse engineering and being a bit of an architect and taking things apart, and I'm understanding the principles of the mechanics in regards to the quantum physics aspects of this realm and how fractality plays in and how density plays in. And I don't know if I'm guilty of this. If I think about this with enough charge and focus and intention, could a thought form of mine create a realm and become so charged and begin to feed on itself? Ooh, that is so weird. How many realms have we inadvertently created together? Whoa. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Bum bum bum. Bum bum bum. I'm trying to find this girl's channel. Oh yeah, she's called Dot Darling. Let's bring this one up. Just thought she had some interesting insights. Take Bill down for a moment. Bring up Dot Darling. Yeah, I guess if anyone wants to hop on and say hi, I could put a link. Very chill stream tonight, but anyone in the chat that's spoken. Wait a minute. Is somebody here? I think I can see. Propagate this light is here. Hey, I'm so glad to see you. Great to see you. Do 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 do. Everyone, please sub to Propagate This Light's channel. And as I said, I'm going to be making people moderators when I'm sitting upright. I do in my lives over here. The people who just show up and have great interactions, I make them moderators. I don't even know why. You never got a notification? I'm sorry about that. I don't know how. The core matrix think tank, that's kind of how I feel about the internet. Like, we're making this digital realm for everybody to get into and distracted by. I know. How easy is it to go a day without turning on your phone or technological device? How long can you do it? Sometimes I try to wait for as long into the day as I can. Sometimes it's 2, 3 in the afternoon before, but I would like to try for more days. Oh, you did? You watched this chick's channel an hour ago. OMFG. I know, me too. I just watched this last video of hers.
Hello, I'm Georgina Rose. I'm a part-time esoteric content creator and part-time surfer of the Enochian Aethers, and welcome back to the Darling YouTube channel. On this channel, we discuss everything related to mysticism, religion, magic, and everything on the fringe of esoterica. And in this video, I am returning to my Occult 101 series. This is the flagship series of this channel that has been going since the very first video. And this video is to mark 60,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. That number is like really unfathomable to me. I mean, I really started this channel, just to like link explanation videos, religion, that kind of challenge Gnostic perspective, such as the Valentinian perspective. And I also want to explore this from a esoteric perspective and a cultic perspective. I want to get into the planetary nature of this and that thing that comes up a lot where people ask if Saturn is the demiurge. The idea of archons and the Platonic view of the demiurge, because Plato and Platonic philosophy has a very different perspective on this subject. So I want to go through all of that. And I want to start with the main version of the demiurge theory that people talk about. And this is what I'm going to call simplified Gnosticism, because Gnosticism is really a lot of different systems. There's no one Gnostic system. So this is basically the common form of the demiurge theory. Okay, so how it goes is, the Abrahamic religions, basically true, but there's a problem. So if we look at the world around us, there's a lot of really bad things, a lot of very evil things. There's people committing sin all the time. There's war crimes. There's genocides. There's, your car breaking down when you need to get somewhere, right? Like there's a lot of problems with the world. And so if you accept a traditional Christian standpoint, you have to accept that God is good, right? God is all goodness. That's what God is. That's the nature of God. Okay, so we know that. And then the Bible says man is made in God's image. Man's not doing so hot. Man does a lot of bad things like cutting people off in traffic, war crimes, inventing broccoli cheddar IPA. Yes, that's real. I think that's up there with war crimes in terms.
So she has a channel. This last video was called "What is the Demiurge?" Darling. Came up on my feed for the first time tonight. So yeah, check out the rest of that video if you feel like it was. I listened to the whole thing. Yeah, she's oversimplifying very deep. It is very deep. It is very deep. But maybe, I don't know, you're talking, maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying. I think I am. William Burr Bowman did a lot of OBE stuff. I got the book. Mark recommended me, and he talks about worlds or realities built on top of realities and keeps going further and further back. Yeah, I always think about that. Oh, rendered on top of each other. Rendered, and then, holy crap, I was listening to a video recently, and they were talking about how you can create rocks and minerals. It doesn't take thousands and millions of years. It takes like a couple weeks. This woman was telling me, somebody on a show, how, and it just got me thinking, wow, how quickly can something be just built right on top of something else? And then if you ever watch John Levy talking about um, the architecture, and he talks about, the reset potential, and he's paying attention a lot on Google Earth and noticing how slowly places on the map are being intentionally blurred out and erased in history when nobody's noticing that it's happening. Let's see. Oh yeah, the rollout technique. So have you tried that, Prop? I I have. Has anyone tried that and had luck with it? Um, going, waking up, and then this is how I see it. Like, you wake up in the morning, you get up and do something for 10 minutes, then you come back to go to bed, and then you set an intention that you are going to leave your body, and then you imagine that you're rolling your physical body back and forth, like to the side, like a cylinder, and then you roll yourself out. I could be wrong, but that's how I understand it. Who knows? Scientists don't even know how wood gets petrified. They say they do, but I don't believe them. Yeah, and I never knew my whole entire life that diamonds could be made in a laboratory. I never knew that. I just had this fantasy that they were forged by pressure over millions of years, and that's why they're just so rare. Um, but then you can just make them in the lab. Well, then it wouldn't be the same. I think you energetically imagine yourself rolling. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So I'm going to go over to, because I didn't even get into, I was thinking about, this is the time frame that we're in. I think it's called the Sirius Heliacal Rising window. Sirius rising, the window of Sirius rising. Sirius, the star system, the one that was venerated by the Dogon tribe as where their elders who passed on crucial information about the advancement of the technology came from, the Nomos, and taught them all about aspects of having a successful civilization, and gave them gnosis on the star system before there were even scientists with telescopes or anything. Who knows where the stars are, how close or how far away they are, but they knew this information way back in the day. And Sirius is the star, the brightest, they call it the knocking star. Even in, what's on the screen? Let me see. This Goyle. Let me see if I can put an image up here. The knocking star, the book, the Quran talks about the Lord of the universe as Sirius. I'll put this little sculpture. So I was thinking all about Sirius, how interesting it is. Robert Temple wrote a book called The Sirius Mystery. And so I was noticing that. Thank you, Heather. It's like, wait, even the fifth realm has taxes? That's when we should start prepping for the real escape, not deeper tourism. Yeah, that is funny. Where can I go that does not have tax? you got to know your worth, and then you got to add tax. So I was thinking about Sirius, and I was thinking about this time of the year around July 4th, July, the dog days of summer. Sirius is the dog star. There's a lot of energy around July and the beginning of August that is being siphoned into different rituals and things that people are doing in a certain sphere of society to honor this time frame of the Sirius heliacal rising window, because in Kemet in Egypt, it was rising. The time that it was, you would see it rise on the horizon, was an indicator that the end of the floods was the end of the floods, and then the land would be replenished, and then they could, continue growing their crops and everything. And so it was a very serious time because it was literally life or death. They were looking for that sign when things were going to turn around and be easier again. And so I think throughout history, there has been this secretive, occulted, ritualistic window during this time frame to work with somehow either a deity, an egregore, a power. I don't know. But different holidays and events are used to harness emotions into a certain intention. We may not know the intention, but we feel we funnel our emotions into it and give it more power, but we don't know the intention all the time. So when the floods happen, sadly, in Texas, my heart goes out to everybody affected by that, and very scary. I have friends that live around there, and just the earthquake that we just experienced, the tsunami warnings, all this underlying concern about flooding. And during this specific window, I was just thinking, is there intentional weather manipulation or things that happen that make these events during this time of the year more prominent, and the intention behind it is to honor the energy of Sirius somehow? It's pretty far out there, but that's what I was thinking about last week. Does anyone have any recommendations for a binaural beats to have an out of body that really works? I'm still not able to do it out of body on command. The times that I've been able to do out of body have actually more easily been done with a guided meditation by someone. I think I like to be roll out the visuals and the sensations as the person is guiding. So, but with the tones, I did listen to the Gateway tapes, not all of them, but it didn't produce an out of body effect. I don't know. Does anybody know? Like if you put 6 hertz theta on a frequency app and just listen to that tone, that have you experienced Black Uni that resulting in an out of body experience? Yeah. I heard that they get degraded, the quality file transferring, but I think if you have the tape, I have the tapes, but the person that shared it with me said it wasn't a corrupted file format that was going to degrade. So I'm sure that's what you have too, but it's something to consider. I wonder about out of body, if it does something, like how much of my physical processing the next day, for example, will have to make up for that energy transfer if I have to recover from it, you know? I got to try to take it easy on my physical body as much as I can. What's this? The importance of looking at creation in terms of, oh, this is Taurus stuff. I have a list I'm reading here. We Are the Fallen Angels. Alice Bailey wrote a book about thought forms, looking at reality through the lens of the archetype of the creator's personality, a fractal of the creator's personality. I know that I am an individual being within a nested system of constructs that's animating this form that can connect to this system somehow and can also be sovereign and free. But I really don't feel that I'm free until I can leave this limited body and this realm. I 8 years ago went through an incredible spiritual awakening. My grandfather passed away. I had a direct spiritual whole shebang over the course of a year, Kundalini awakening, experiencing samadhi, having incredible, miraculously seeming happenings and synchronicities happening, crying, feeling everything is God, everything is this force, it's me, it's you, it's everything. So that was 8 years ago. I really got swept up in that. And I'm getting tired, guys. I'm going to end this soon, but I just want to try and finish this, what I'm trying to say. And by the way, I had a great conversation recently that I plan on editing and sharing in a stream or a video soon, and some more interesting talks in the future, and looking forward to how we can all stay connected. Okay, yeah, so 8 years ago, and I had the experience when I could feel the connection, the interconnectedness of everything, and it was blissful, but it was too blissful. It was like I was on drugs, and I wasn't on drugs, but I felt that I was, and it was for like a year, and I'd be laughing and crying, and it was like a maniacal, devotional type thing, and then all sorts of shit happened since 8 years ago that completely knocked me down. One thing over another, over and over and over and over and over and over, until I'm here now, still with this spirit inside of me that remembers what that felt like 8 years ago. But I don't think I'm going to be that disillusioned again. I'm finding a balance. I'm being way more observant and less reactive. I'm really focused on maintaining as much integrity of my essence without being degraded by all the challenge and horror of being alive. The weight of challenge and horror is also equally beautiful, loving, incredible. I can feel that. I feel that, and I'm also tired. and it's challenging. And I get very sad to see what we're doing with our time a lot. And I get really inspired when I see what people are doing with their time and their creative potential. And so it's both and. But yeah, I'm tired, and I feel like I'm giving this vessel, this incarnation, a gift by animating it. It sounds so weird. I've never said that. I am not taking myself out, so I'm giving this body and this person of Heather and this experience of reality that is through this lens of perception, this incarnation. I'm lending it my spiritual charge to animate it, to allow it to unfold. And I'm trying to stay behind the wheel of my vessel and my car as I'm navigating this journey. I'm trying to keep my spirit there. Being so much in pain and having injury and having heartache and seeing how things are happening, it's very heavy. And it's beautiful when we can come together and support each other. And we're, not one person can do this by themselves. This experience is way too heavy. And so it's beautiful that we have each other to connect with, either online or offline. And we can send each other telepathic beams of appreciation and encouragement. I don't people are like, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Don't worry. Just keep going. Who knows if it's going to be okay or if it's not? That's me. I'm not going to just say I know what's going to happen. But whatever it's going to be, we are not alone. We're witnessing this together, and we can just help each other take deep breaths and find our center and wake up from our little stages of hypnosis that we are in, that we fall in and come out of and go back in and come back out, and respect that every person is on a different part of everyone has different cycles and patterns and journeys, and there's no way we can even know what any other person's experience is like. But yet we have access to each other. We can share thoughts and emotions in the field, the invisible field, with each other. And that is wild, but it's true. I've done it. I've seen it happen. It's happening all the time. So, okay, let's go through the chat. I'm going to say goodnight to everyone. Black Uni, you guys are awesome. You're awesome, Black Uni. Propagate this light. I think you're on the right path. Thank you. Pushing buttons, you're awesome too. Black Uni Griffin, 3 trophies, absolutely. When I get up, I'll put everybody as a mod because it's great to have everyone here, and I want you to come back whenever I do have a live. I don't have a strong format, but I try once in a while when I'm feeling it. Thank you so much, Heather. I could listen to you forever. Thanks, pushing buttons. That's I gotta drink some tea. I know my mouth is getting dry from talking for so long, but I appreciate you all being here tonight. Thank you, Vegan Skeptic. Really appreciate you. Vegan Skeptic. Totally agree, Heather. Having a space like this with people who actually get it and want to connect, go deeper, support each other, etc., is beyond rare. Grateful for every one of you here tonight. Oh, I starred that comment. I don't know what that does, but it got a star. Thank you, vegan skeptic. That's great. It's so nice to meet you. So sweet. I feel that deeply. It's rare to find people who actually critically and spiritually, with discernment and without falling into scripts of new age paranoia, etc. So this space feels like a true oasis. That's lovely. Oh my gosh, I got to give you the true oasis experience. I'll play a song from my other channel so that we can get that true oasis experience. Typing. Oh my gosh, another Heather Mattoon just started a channel. It's very interesting. She's an astrologer. I actually got an email 3 years ago from this Heather Mattoon saying, join my astrology list. And I thought, who are you? Are you trying to take my identity? Because that's happened before as an artist. People have tried to take my identity. So I thought this girl was doing that, but her name is actually Heather Mattoon. She has similar looks as me, and she's an astrologer, so she just started a YouTube channel. That's great. So there's 2 Heather Mattoons. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna play us out with a song that I wrote called "And Now My Heart is Full of Love and Grace." I made it 6 years ago using Logic Pro and my voice, and it's very pretty and interesting. So thanks again, everybody, for being here, and I'm gonna close the stream and the stream when the music is over. So stay in touch with me and connect with everyone else if you can. You can. I'm probably going to start a Discord. And yeah, I have a Discord. I'll share it with some people if anybody wants. Just let me know. Write a comment in one of my posts or videos, and we'll try, or email me and we'll get in touch.
After the rain stopped, the moon was full. It lit up the sky above my bed, calling me to see the shadows. And an eclipse made the sky red and covered the light, and I was invited to go underneath and cry in safety and pray for the guidance. And I slept, trusting in the birth of a new day. And I woke with the winds charging the land and trees above, and heard of the changes. And I went outside, and I put my feet on the earth and my face in the sun, and now my heart is filled with love and grace.
Whoa. That was really interesting. That was really loud. Sorry, guys. I wish I remastered that, but I'll make another song for the subtle realms and share it soon. Thanks everyone for joining me. I hope you have a great night or day and look forward to talking again soon. Bye.